Good morning. Welcome to history class. Myself Subodh sir here, and in this video we will discussing about the civil war that took place in Russia after October Revolution. We have discussed already about the 1905 revolution, its effect. Then we have discussed about the February Revolution of 1917, and it brought a change. And what was the change? Monarchy came to an end. Then it was the February Revolution. After February Revolution, it was the October Revolution. Or basically, October Revolution can be told as the Bolshevik Revolution, because this revolution was completely led by the Bolshevik party. What happened after the October Revolution? We had seen that after October Revolution, the power changed from the provisional government to the Bolshevik party. This change of power was not unanimous. It means all had not supported the change in it. And this change, this revolution made many people the enemy of Lenin. Lenin was not being confronted internally but also externally. Externally means from the foreign countries. Also, because the policy that he implemented just after the October Revolution. Whatever he had promised, he tried to do with it. He had promised, or he was asking during the April thesis, he has given in April thesis that war should come to an end. And we will see he made a treaty with the central power for the ending of the war. Then he made the banks and industry nationalized, and he also gave the land to the peasants. He had promised. All his promises and all his activities made many peoples the enemy of Lenin. Now we will analyze who were the enemy of the Lenin and why before we enter the civil war. First, if we see internally who were the enemy of internally, if we see socialist revolutionary, socialist revolutionary become the enemy of Lenin. And why the socialist revolutionary become? Because in the assembly election, the Lenin party Bolshevik has got 175 and they have got 320 seats. This is a big difference, and Lenin has closed the assembly. That's why the revolutionaries were, socialist revolutionary were against the Lenin. One fraction that we find they become against the Lenin. Other than this one, second we are talking about the internal, on the internal front. First, the socialist revolutionary were against because Lenin has closed down the assembly. And why so assembly? Because even after doing so work, Bolshevik party could not attain the majority Bolshevik party managed to get only 175 seats, where the Communist Revolutionary had 320. Then the provisional government, especially the provisional government part, Mensheviks. Who were the Mensheviks? Earlier they were part of the Bolshevik. In 1912, the Communist Social Democratic Workers Party was divided and it was become the Menshevik and Bolshevik. It means they both have the same origin, but due to the difference in their ideology, they become a separate party. One become the majority, that is Bolshevik, over whom we are talking about, and Menshevik, who had the part and supporting the provisional government. They also become the angry because they were not happy and satisfied with the way the seizure of power by the Lenin during the October Revolution. The two groups. Then from very earlier one, we find the pro-Tsarist. Pro-Tsarist also become the enemy of the Lenin, because even though the Tsar rule came to an end after the February revolutions, but all the chances were shattered after the October revolutions. The Tsarists were pro-Tsarist, who were the supporter. The Tsarist government, they become against it. Are not only dishonest. Then we can see the nobles whose land were taken by the peasants, because peasants had redistributed the lands of the nobles. So nobles whose land were at the stake, which were taken away, they become the enemy of the leader. Furthermore, the army officers. Army officers. Why? You can see that the army officers were against, because Lenin had made a peace treaty with the central power. This peace treaty was with the central power because Lenin had given his verdict that war should come to an end. No doubt, in the Treaty of Brest-Litovsk, in this treaty, the Russia had to suffer a lot because he had to cede or surrender a part of agriculture area as well as the industrial area to the central powers. So army who were fighting to recognize the dignity of the Russia, because the Russia was badly defeated in 1905 by the Japan, a small country of Asia. So they wanted to regain their dignity, and since he had made a treaty, Brest-Litovsk treaty, according to it, it surrendered from the war and withdraw from the war. So these peoples, we find they were internally the enemy of the Lenin. If we talk about externally, if we talk about this externally, then what was? Then one was the Czech legions. The Czech legions were the war prisoners who had mutinied or revolted in the Trans-Siberian area capture the Siberian railway, and they marched and attacking towards the Moscow. Means they were moving from the East Russia to the West Russia. It means it was also a challenge for the Lenin to control these activities, to maintain a big empire, because internally peoples were not agree and peoples were not happy with the Lenin's act. Other than the Bolshevik that we are finding it, the war prisoners, Czech legions had revolted and they started marching. Then again, their allied powers were become, who were the allied powers? Against him, it was the UK, USA, then France. Other countries which were the allied powers, they become angry with the Lenin. And why they were angry with the Lenin? Simply they did not want it, the Russia to withdraw in the middle of the war, because these peoples were sensing, means the allied power were sensing the victory, and they were thinking if the Russia is withdrawing, they would be weakened, because Russia was at the eastern front, means holding the Germany, engaging the Germany. And on the western front, these parties were fighting. And in this the treaty, we have discussed already that they freed many German soldiers from the east front according to the treaty of Brest-Litovsk treaty, and they were given the power to fight at the west, because these soldiers were released from the Russia, it means from the eastern front, and it gave the chance to Germany to strengthen their western front. That's why the other allies power were not happy, because it may defeat of the allied powers. At the same time, most of the European countries, including the allies power, were not happy with the ongoing process in the Russia, simply because this movement, the communist movement, he want to make and spread it the worldwide movement, and all the countries which were the capitalist country, where they were not happy with this act, they don't want to accept the socialism in their country, because they were the capitalist nation. Industrial revolution had taken place. So these were the enemy. So it was not the bed of roses, means throne of Russia was not the bed of roses for the Lenin. After the Lenin, it was not the first, this civil war was not fought on the single front. It was basically fought on the three fronts. One was the Eastern Front. Eastern Front. So please don't get confused. We are talking about, this is the Eastern Front of the Civil War. Before it, we have discussed about the Eastern Front of the World War I. Eastern Front names comes related to both the one. One is for the Civil War, another one was for the World War I. And in the World War I, we have seen that allies powers were defeated by the Central Power. Now it was the Eastern Front, and when we are talking about the Eastern Front, it was the Trans-Siberian area. Then it was also fought on the Southern Front. In Southern Front, the Bolshevik had to face many difficulties. The Bolshevik had to face many difficulties in the Southern Front, not the Eastern Front, because Eastern Front, it was fought by the fight armies that we are going to discuss about it. And it was also north and northwest front. North and northwest front. If you see north and northwest front, it means the Moscow area comes. By this time, December, the Bolshevik has controlled the area that was given by the St. Petersburg, Moscow area. It was basically occupied, and then they started spreading it. This was the reason the civil war started. Civil war actually was fought by the three armies, three groups of armies. Which were the three armies? We can say one was the Green Army. Socialist Revolutionaries Army, we can say. Socialist Revolutionary Army. 1918 to 21. This is a period of formation. Actually, the civil war went on 1918 to 23. It was a long way, not a short way. That is 1 or 2 months, 1 or 2 days, it finished. It took a long time. So it was three basic armies that were fighting it. Who were these armies? So one was the Green Army, and it was a supporter of the Socialist Revolutionary. This army, as the name suggests, had started, and it was the natural oppositions to the Bolshevik, means Lenin. Why so? Because Lenin had sent his soldiers through the peasants' land. And when the soldiers is going through the peasants' land, it would destroy their crops. And why the Lenin had sent their troops, means their soldiers, because they wanted to collect the supplies which was necessary for the sustaining a big army and building a communist or socialist state, socialist nation. So these were the natural supporters of the socialist revolutionary, and they become angry. They organized the army. It is called the Green Army. It was in the central Russia. Another army, that was the White Army. But little bit longer, 1918 to 23 is last. We can say it was the pro-Tsarist, means supporter of the Tsarist. It means these were the commander of the imperial forces who were fighting in the First World War and who become angry with the activity of the Lenin, because Lenin had made a treaty with the Central Powers, and they were thinking that they have staked the prestige of the Russia, because they wanted to regain the prestige of Russia and just forgive the defeat that they had suffered in the hand of the Japan. Then the third one was the Red Army. It means it was the Bolshevik. Bolshevik army 1918 to 48. Still a little bit longer. It was the voluntary organization. All those who had attained the age of 18 years, they were allowed to join this army. The number of Red Army were bigger in the Russia. So these three armies who fought the civil war, it was the Green Army, means we can see the supporter in the central Russia. They were the peasants who were part of the Green Army. And why the peasants are supported? Simply the Bolshevik or Lenin had sent their soldiers to their lands to collect the supplies which was necessary to sustain the army as well as making a socialist nation. And the white armies, these were the militaries who were thinking that the pride of the nation was at stake because he had withdrawn from the First World War, and Lenin was willing to withdraw from the First World War at any cost because he had mentioned it already in the April thesis. And last one, it was his army itself. Now see the situations what happened. As it was promised by the Lenin that land could be redistributed. And we have already discussed the World War in the Russia, the effect of the World War on Russia, First World War, that the able-bodied peoples from the rural areas were sent to the army. So we have also seen that there was shortage of the labor in the industry, so it brought a closure of the industries. These soldiers had a direct link with the village, and when the news of redistribution of land came, it means when it was announced by the Lenin, these soldiers started breaking the armies and going to the village for the purpose of the redistribution of land because they had the direct connections with the village. Let us go to the village and take the land. We don't have the land, so we have to grab the land, and from where they had to grab the land? They had to grab the land, the nobles. This was not welcomed by the pro-Tsarist, then the socialist revolutionary and other groups. These all the groups who were against it went into the South Russia and organized an army, and this army really posed a threat to the integration of the Russian Republic. This happened in the White Army. White Army, pro-Tsarist, they were basically the military personnel. Among in it, those military personnel of the imperial armies, original imperial army of the Russia. They were not the Bolshevik armies. So anyone who were the supporter of the private property, they started treating very harsh to the peasants who had taken the land of the nobles, because redistribution of land means the right to private property was given up. If a nobles had much land, it was taken, so these peoples were treated badly by the white armies. So we can see in other words, other than the Red Army, the white army and the green army can be, they were the non-Bolshevik. So the non-Bolsheviks started declining their prestige, their support started declining, and it gave the support to the Bolshevik. They boosted the Bolsheviks' morals. Bolshevik already had defeated the white armies in the Siberians. They have controlled the Czech legions, and they were also being supported by the non-Russian nationalists. Non-Russian nationalists whose the identity of nationalists were in danger during the Tsar rule, they supported the Bolshevik idea. Among them, the Jadidists were also there. So Jadidists, we can say, they were the modernizers, they were the reformers, or they were believing in the modernization of the Islam. So they supported it. The support for the Bolshevik grew very fast. But when we talk about the Central Asia, in this one, the place is Khiva. Here, the Bolshevik has started brutally killing the nationalist, local nationalist in the name of the socialism. So there a confusion started. Why I am saying the word Central Asia? Because Russia is so big country, it's 77% Russia lies in Asia and only 23% is in Europe. %77 Russia is in Asia and only 23% Russia is in Europe. But still, the Russia is considered as the European country. It is so because the Moscow, St. Petersburg and other places, its capital city lies in the Europe. And if we see the demography, population demography, we can say most population lies in the European part of the Russia and very less population. It would make you amazing that the Asian Russia means part of the Russia, its density is only 2.5 people, 2 person per square kilometers. So population is very less. All the density population, their capital, all lies in Europe. That's why Russia is considered as the European countries. The Khiva, where the nationalist leaders were killed, now it is a separate nation. Now it is in Uzbekistan, which is now a separate nation. Other nationalists give their autonomy to the Russia, and it formed the USSR in 1922 and the USSR in 1922, and the non-Russian nationalists were given the autonomy. It means we are finding that the war that Lenin had started in 1917 itself, the October Revolution, it came till the 1923 when the Bolsheviks were able to make the USSR. Now, what happened after this one? We will discuss it in the next video. Till go through this video very carefully and also your textbook, which will enhance your information. Thank you.